When Batman #1 came into Pawn Stars, the seller's asking for $250,000. What Corey didn't realize? That price was about to look like a steal, because thanks to Pawn Stars, the market for this comic was about to explode. A seller walks into the shop with a Batman #1, one of the holy grails of comics. This is the 1940 issue the Joker and Catwoman make their debut. Only about 300 copies are believed to still exist, and finding one in decent condition? That's like spotting Batman outside of Gotham. But when the seller throws out an asking price of $250,000, Corey, despite recognizing its importance and potentially very high value, gets nervous and calls in his comic book expert, Steve. Before moving on though, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If everyone watching simply subscribed, I could hit that 1,000 subscriber mark needed. It costs you nothing, but is everything for me. Even those terrible clickbait AI channels about Pawn Stars have more subscribers than this one, and that's just not acceptable to me. Thanks. Steve first educates Corey on the grading system. A blue label, like this one, means the comic is unrestored. A purple label means it's restored. Still valuable, but not in the same league. For example, this copy here, a 5.0 grade with restoration, sold for $72,000 in 2021. That's the exact same time frame that we are looking at for this Pawn Stars episode. But unrestored 5.0s? They sell for far more, as you will see shortly. Steve also notes a curious downward trend in prices. I can confirm what Steve says on the show about the recent sales seeing lower prices. He specifically mentioned one from 2016 and one from 2018. Here's the 5.5 sold in 2016 for $239,000. And here's the other 5.5 from 2018, which sold for $227,000. And as Steve will point out, this copy on the show sold for $210,000 in 2019. So yes, clearly some price slipping. To be clear though, neither that 2016 or 2018 sale are the same copy as the one that appears on Pawn Stars. Based on that, Steve appraises it at $210,000. The seller sticks to his $250,000 asking price. Corey tries a really lowball offer of $100,000, but the seller refuses. Honestly, it's a good thing he did, because selling at Corey's price would have cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's where it gets interesting. The seller acknowledges he's the one who bought the comic at auction just a year earlier for $210,000. I was able to track down the exact auction record myself. You can even see the same number 5 penciled in the corner. It's the exact same book. So the seller was either trying to make a quick flip, or maybe he just wanted the Pawn Stars spotlight to drum up some interest, which actually might have worked. So why do I say that? Now, Steve was correct about the downward trend, but that didn't last. Something reversed the downward market trend because since this was filmed in late 2020 or early 2021, this comic routinely brings in well over $250,000. In 2022, one graded 3.5 sold for $264,000, a far lesser grade. In 2024, one graded 4.0 sold for $288,000, still a much lesser grade with a really high value. And now here's where we get crazy. The closest comps to the grade of the book from the show, also with transactions from right around the same time as the potential transaction on this episode, indicate a big surge in prices. In 2023, a book graded 6.0 sold for a whopping $552,000. Okay, so you might be saying it's a higher grade and a more recent sale, so that price is inflated. But check this out. In April 2021, right after this episode was filmed, a book graded 5.0, a lower grade than the one on the show, sold for $360,000. So the trend reversed hard. Maybe it was the anticipation of the upcoming 2022 Batman movie. Maybe there was just a general market correction. Or maybe even it was that extra hype from being on Pawn Stars. Whatever it was, Corey passed on a comic that skyrocketed in value shortly after. Looking back, Corey could have paid the $250,000 and likely resold it for $400,000 or more. But with Steve only appraising it at just $210,000, it looked too risky at the time. Meanwhile, the seller, who bought in 2019 for $210,000, stood to make around $40,000 profit on a quick flip. But thanks to the market rebound, he probably got very lucky Corey didn't bite, even at his $250,000 asking price. So what of this copy since it was on the show? As far as I can tell, this exact copy hasn't reappeared in public auction records. Maybe he sold it privately after the show. Or maybe he's still holding on, watching it climb in value. Either way, he bought at what turned out to be the very brief bottom of the market. So, what do you think? Are you surprised at how much the value has gone up on this comic? And what's the most valuable comic in your collection? After you hit those like and subscribe buttons, seriously, hit those. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.